work with people that aren't afraid to let you learn something. If you work for somebody and they keep a lot of things secret and they don't want you to learn, how the business really operates, you need to go find somebody else to work with.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Industry and this everyone, somebody told you what kind of risk you were getting into to be in the food business, which is extremely competitive, and everybody else knows what they're doing. Because this is what I realized when I land in the street in London with my restaurant. I realized that all this street, everybody have 30 years experience, 30 years experience owning those restaurants. And I jumped into a very busy road in London with no experience, and it was a total disaster. So how you end up in this industry?
Well, my father sold packaging, empty bags and boxes. And
Oh, wow.
so I met a lot of really great food manufacturers and people that were in the food business as a kid. And then we were always taking people to breakfast, lunch, and dinner when he was entertaining his clients. And, I just knew at an early age that I wanted to be in the food business. So when I went to
Why?
college,
Because your dad was also an entrepreneur?
he was a salesman, an incredible salesman. And he, like if you made a widget and you needed to package it, Dad would help you figure that out. So I learned a little bit about everything.
So what he thought when he discovered that you gonna open a restaurant, because he knew the risk. Did he encourage you, or he told you that this is a very bad idea?
You got to realize I worked in a restaurant all through college. I was a dishwasher, a prep cook, a line cook, the chef, assistant manager. And then after I left that concept, I went to work in the corporate restaurant business for 20 years. And I did almost every role that they had available and was on lots of different teams. So after, 20 plus years of working for other people, I decided it was time for me to have my own place.
So what advice do you have for people listening this broadcast? They are in corporate America, and they are cash rich, time poor, and they are listening to you and say, wow, I wish that I have this courage to quit this corporate job and start my own business. Lots of people dream about this is what they want. They want their cash rich, time poor, because they're working in the corporate and they cannot fit their own calendar. But sometimes the illusion can be deceiving, because when they are in corporate, you see, if somebody come to them after they do this, they can easily tell, okay, this is not my job. When you own your own business, everything is your job, and you will get paid corporate no matter what. When you own your own business, you have to pay everybody first before yourself, and special restaurant, which is a cash flow intense business. If you're gonna expand, even worse, and you have to again to the time to get back the investment of a restaurant is not as, in my opinion, not as fast as other type of businesses. It's a little bit more slow, take years, sometimes depends on what are you launching. So even knowing what you're doing is a little bit eh, risky, because I also work as a waiter in the restaurant in the Hilton, the Canary Wharf, and I did some waiting and everything. But wow, when I have my own restaurant, it's like 360 degrees. I didn't know so many things that I really need to know. So you have to learn a lot. And so product market fit. How do you knew that the restaurant that you're gonna open, people are gonna come?
Well, I already had a pretty good reputation in the area. People knew that I love food and hospitality and catering, and um and I had a lot of people that I managed over the years that believed in me. So that was not the hard part. The hard part was trying to do the finances along with, operating the business. And that's where I struggled a lot. And, but
Like everybody that been in the
yeah, the
restaurant
times,
business.
yeah,
It's
the times where I've
expensive,
had a
really.
good,
Eh? It's expensive.
it is very expensive. It's a lot more expensive than you think. And when you think you've got it figured out, everything goes up.
Tell me about
And
it.
yeah, repairs and maintenance are brutal. Utilities
The
are
bills,
horrible.
the bills. Oh my God! When I received
Yeah,
my first water bill, and I'm thinking these people are joking. In London, they give you a special a rate even more expensive than retail because you are a commercial, so you have to pay the bills with a commercial tariff,
yeah,
and you used to the bills with the bill. You say, okay, this is the water that I use in my house, so that's how much I pay. So I suppose that the restaurant should be kind of similar. Gas, water, then you have the issue with the lease as well. That sometimes the restaurant is working and everything, and a lot of clients coming to you. Now comes the landlord when the lease is over and say, you know what, you have to pay me more rent. And he said that's a difficult one because it takes time and money and effort to move the restaurant somewhere else. So most likely the restaurateurs will end up swallowing the increase on rent because a restaurant is a place,
right.
a place is very important. So, a lot of risk everywhere. I remember that when I opened my one, I had this idea that I want a guitar on the ceiling because I want my restaurant to be spectacular. Okay. And I remember my builder told me, Harry, look, this guitar they want call it Harry Spanish Tapa. So imagine how lost I was. I should call it Lola or Pepe's, right? So I put my name, Harry Spanish Tapa. So imagine I didn't have any clue how to do restaurants. Even the name was was sending that message out there. Didn't know anything about branding, didn't know anything about anything. And then and I still learning. And then I go there and talk to my team. Look, I want a guitar. This is a Spanish experience. I want a guitar in the roof. And my Polish builder told me, Harry, look, we can do this guitar, but it's gonna take 2 months. It's a big job. What you asking us? I can do it. So can you handle it to have this place empty 2 months? And sometimes lack of experience and naivety. I said, of course, this don't worry about it. This restaurant is gonna be so amazing when we finish that it will be overflow with clients. Nobody has a guitar in the ceiling. Well, it was not 2 months. It was 3 months, 3.5 months to the guitar, and then I had to pay all this rent, which is the massive place. And again, the guitar was amazing. Still didn't cut it. Nobody went in on day one, apart from a couple of friends and family that knew about it. And imagine, Billy, that the restaurant I closed it, and now the restaurant is a Chinese restaurant, and still my guitar is there.
Okay.
The
Yep. That
Chinese guy
happens.
that arrived say, "Okay, Spanish guitar there. You know what? Let me put a little bit Chinese. Let's rock and roll." So we demonstrate that when you are in business, when it comes to restaurant, you really need to know what you're doing. So, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs passionate about food that from outside looks like very easy business? Everybody can cook, everybody can eat, and everybody think, okay, you know what? I want to do my own business, gonna have a restaurant. So, what advice do you have for those entrepreneurs or those aspiring entrepreneurs that don't they are normalizing well what they're getting into, and that is the consequence of one of the industry with largest rate of failing is actually restaurants.
Uh, my advice before you jump into it is make sure you work for some great people first.
That would be
Be
helpful, yeah.
humble and be humble and go in and be an Indian before you become the chief. Um, get on as many teams as you can with and learn everything from the front of the house to the back of the house. talk to people about branding and marketing before you make big decisions like putting the guitar on the ceiling or your signage on the side of the road or whatever. Run those ideas in front of a few think tanks and just say, hey, I need some feedback, and be open-minded. Listen to them. If they tell you the color doesn't seem to fit the brand, or your logo is way too busy, or I don't understand what you're saying in your branding message, listen to all of that and then really go back and rethink things. Some things you're going to stand your ground on, and that's fine. But once you do stand your ground on them, you got to live with it for whatever period of time. But yeah, just work with people that aren't afraid to let you learn something. If you work for somebody and they keep a lot of things secret and they don't want you to learn, how the business really operates, you need to go find somebody else to work with.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.